We live in a fast-paced and hectic world where it's easy to feel overwhelmed, stressed, and out of control. How do you manage all the competing pressures without losing sense of yourself? How do you stay focused enough to not only plot a path, but follow it? Welcome to Master Your Life, a show that offers inspiration, insight, and intelligence, as well as success stories from many walks of life that can show you how you can control your own destiny. Our knowledgeable and entertaining host and her guests give practical advice that you can use every day in the quest to master your life. Now, here's your host, Leaha Mattinson.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's show. We're so excited to have each and every one of you tuning in from wherever it is that you are on the planet this fine day. I'm host Leaha Mattinson. In this episode, I'm joined by Dr. Ariel Policano. Now, Dr. Ariel has been a naturopathic doctor for well over a decade. And she is bringing energy and frequency healing to the world in a very cool way. And we're going to be talking about that today because she is part of the invention, really, of genius biofeedback. Now, I want to talk a little bit about biofeedback. My first experience with biofeedback was about 16 years ago, and the machine was huge, and I got hooked up to the machine, and I went, wow, this is incredible information that I got back from it immediately. And it was really accurate and unbiased. So now it's my real divine pleasure to bring Ariel on the show because you don't have to go to a huge office where there's these giant machines anymore to actually get biofeedback. You can actually do it from the palm of your hand. So Dr. Ariel Policano, welcome to Master Your Life. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. So let's start with just really, how did you get into doing biofeedback?
Yeah, well, I've been a naturopathic doctor for a while, and being in practice, you get to work with people. What my focus was after graduating from naturopathic college, wanting to help people, wanting to see them heal, I quickly moved from a one-on-one patient engagement to more of a group scenario where I was doing group detoxes and still seeing private patients. But I wanted to empower people to make more change where they could be able to help themselves. I was also looking for something that I could utilize that would help me to understand the person at a much deeper level than I was able to get from asking our naturopathic history. And from the different Chinese medicine professors that we have, I learned that, acupuncture, energetics, and I'm not a Chinese medicine practitioner. And our Chinese medicine practitioner said to the Western naturopaths, you should have some energetic testing equipment in your office. So as I began to learn about the genius and what quantum biofeedback could do, I became interested in my practice initially. But then I saw that the same model of self-empowerment through frequency could be conferred in this mobile application for the genius. So I got very interested in teaching people quantum biofeedback with the health principles that I know as a naturopath. And the rest is history. I've been doing this since 2012 and absolutely loving it.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations, and give yourself a pat on the back. That's a huge accomplishment. So many people who are in Western modalities of medicine, allopathic medicine, don't want to look at the Eastern side of medicine at all. So I just think that's so cool that you were an early entry person into that. The collaboration and synergy of that stuff. So tell me, what's the difference between quantum biofeedback and just straight up biofeedback?
Well, there has been biofeedback, which suggests that your biology, your biological changes, say the changes, the moisture that might be on a fingertip or some type of biological change, your heart rate and so forth, those things were assessed in biofeedback. And then we're fed back through different electrical hookups. And that was a very sort of one-dimensional way of working with people. And it's still done today. It's a way, I would say, to get people into maybe a state of relaxation, also learning about how their own body functions and how they can modulate some of those functions. Quantum biofeedback came into the world about 25 years ago with these big box systems, just like you mentioned, were upwards of $20,000 or $30,000. You'd get hooked up to them. They took quite a long time to learn, to train, to master. Also, they took a long time to do a session. Not everybody could own one at that price point, and you might go and have a session that might cost you $300 to $500. It would be a one-off, and then you'd go back on your merry way, and a lot of your symptoms might return. So, but the quantum biofeedback technology does work on a very deep level. For all of the expense that people experience with the big box machines, they also got a profound experience of learning about the root cause. Oh my gosh, I didn't know this was going on inside of me. No doctor ever told me this. And it's the algorithms and the coding of quantum biofeedback that goes to the deep subconscious that reveals the emotional blocks, that reveals the unknown physical blocks that people were never able to reach before. And that is so exciting. So there's a huge difference between quantum biofeedback. There's so much deeper you can go with it.
Yes, and it is so exciting. And I always say it's fun, but some people might not find it fun to delve that deeply. I don't know, but I myself, I'm like an explorer. So, again, I think that's the audience that listens to the Master Your Life show, are people who really are looking for that internal insight, wisdom, and intelligence that divines from inside. But when you've got this tool in your hand, it's so much fun because it reveals things in a very unbiased way. So if you're a private person and you don't want to share that information with anybody, you can just look at the screen yourself and actually go, oh, that's what's going on. Oh yeah, that is what's going on, and I can do something about it. And if you're more of a public person that doesn't mind sharing your information with other people, you can share it and go, can you believe I was feeling loathing all this time? Can you believe it? Look at that. And it's like,
I think you've hit on one of the most important points, is that this can be very personal, that you can test yourself and in the privacy of your own home, have that honesty with yourself, and no doctor, therapist needs to look on, no third party needs to know that, but you can have profound transformation in being willing to see the truth about yourself. And quantum biofeedback in this mobile application allows people that luxury of learning about that at home, that which they could only find out from their naturopath, that which they could only find out from their acupuncturist before. You get to find it out yourself and work on yourself on a daily level. I think the biggest obstacle to healing is when people don't know. What is it? I don't know what it is. If somebody could just name it, if somebody could just tell me, here, you can learn every single day what the different blockages are and then do something about it.
Yes, exactly. So if you're listening to this on a podcast or a replay, push pause right now. And I want you to go to the masteryourlife.ca website and go and get yourself go to the Genius Biofeedback section and get yourself your 14-day free download, because you get to try this for free. And so you can actually learn a lot about things in this 14-day free trial. And then once you've got that downloaded or uploaded or whatever, you can play along as Dr. Ariel and I are talking, which can also be a lot of fun. But if you don't want to hit pause, that's okay too. But I know when I heard about this the first time, I went, pause, I'm going to get myself in, I'm going to try it out. It was so much fun and so revealing. And again, because I'm an explorer, that's how I feel about it. Some people are not going to find it fun, but they are going to find it, come from the curious aspect of it, something that you can learn about yourself. And then, hit play and carry on, with listening to this interview, because it's going to be, full of really great information. One of the things I'd love for you to share is a success story of somebody. I'm sure you've got thousands, but is there something that you could share with the audience today that would be a profound, or something that changed the way you thought about the healing that you were doing?
Well, yes. I mean, when I first started utilizing the Genius, I was using it with my patients. And so I wanted to investigate, just like you talked about. And I think probably a lot of people who are watching or listening to this do want to find out, wow, they do want to get to the root cause. I think that's a very natural human desire to want to do that, to want to learn about yourself. That's maybe the whole goal of life in some sense. And I think people get curious about health. They do want to know either how to heal themselves, or they want to understand the underpinnings of what makes them well and what could keep them well for a long period of time. And so as such, I think the Genius sort of is a natural for those investigative, inquiring minds. Now, with relationship to that, we did have a gentleman who had a very severe heart condition. And he just assumed that even after biofeedback, he would still need to have a procedure for his heart. So he just surrendered to that. Well, we worked with him for 25 days in a row remotely, in the morning and then at night. he discovered so many things about himself, different emotional blockages, crying, starting to release some things. Now, he didn't work on himself. We worked on him as a practitioner. But after the 25 days, he went back to the doctor and he was ready to have the surgery, the procedure. And they sat him down and they took some imaging and they went away. And then they came back in the room and they all looked at him and they looked at each other and they were like, we don't know what you've been doing, but you no longer need this procedure. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So those are the kinds of like stunning things that really are amazing.
Yeah, 25 days to not need surgery. That is because you have to recover from surgery. Like you get put under for surgery. There's somebody cutting something out of you. And it's one of those things I invite people to think about, because surgery sounds easy when you say it fast, but it's something that, costs you time, costs you money, costs you resources. Usually people have to take care of you. You need some level of care post-surgical, maybe even pre-surgical, with getting rides to and from appointments. So all of these modalities of helping yourself to access wellness can really be enriching in so many ways beyond just that you're fixing this physical thing, but it can also keep money in your bank account too, from a practical standpoint. I bet his self-esteem was absolutely through the roof when he resolved a lot of those health problems on his own.
I think when you do that, you feel that somehow your body has the ability to heal itself, and that is exhilarating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fantastic. So tell me some of the favorite panels that you run as a practitioner, or common things that people are dealing with nowadays, Ariel.
Well, the very first thing that most people will experience when they start using the Genius, even just the general panels honor system overview, things like body systems or spinal energy, the meridians, they will experience, although we don't make any claims, what they tell us is they experience immediately better sleep. So one of our practitioners did her dissertation for Quantum University, and she did a series of questionnaires. So where these are self-reporting on the client side. And after 7 weeks of sessions, 39% of the people responding experienced an improvement. On average, they experienced a 39% improvement in their sleep quality and a 51% improvement in their energy, their experiencing of having energy. So it was really very, very interesting. She actually presented and was accepted of her dissertation at Quantum University, working and studying the Genius. And 7 weeks of sessions is really the magic, where all of the magic came on and people had incredible experiences. On my YouTube channel, if you look for my YouTube channel under Ariel Policano, you can see the interview I did with Annette Landman, one of our practitioners, and she shows pictures of a little girl that she worked on in this over the 7 weeks. And the girl had, the young 2-year-old had some issues with her eyes. She had one eye going in one direction, one eye turning in. And she worked on libraries, panels, frequencies for cranial nerves, for spinal energy, for the nervous system to calm down and relax, as well as some brain frequencies and some emotional frequencies and flower essences, all frequency based. You can see in the video her slideshow of where the girl now looks completely straight forward with her eyes, both of the eyes healed. And the mother was absolutely blown away. So frequency is powerful. These frequencies do make a difference. The frequencies of quantum biofeedback are gentle and subtle, and they work in partnership with your own innate intelligence. They tell you which frequencies are best for you today. And then when you hit the play button and you get the frequencies, they're frequencies that you most need, but they're always sort of asking your higher consciousness, is this okay? Is this okay? And that is why over the 9 years of working with this, we have very few reactions. We have very little 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪𝙩s, because it's working so slowly and so gently with people.
What about for the people who say, do you really believe in this stuff? Do you have very much of that anymore, or has
the funny thing is it's happening less and less, because the main reason that people don't understand it is because, like as Gregg Braden explains, that most people don't understand this because they don't understand how the universe really works. When you're told the limited version of how the world is, how the universe is in grade school and Western school and college and so forth, then how could you possibly understand that in a way distance doesn't really exist and time doesn't really exist, and also that we're deeply interconnected, that we can affect each other from a distance. So, but today people are learning that more and more, but the most profound thing is the 14 days that people can get this and they can experience it for themselves. There are very, very few healing therapeutics, PEMF, quantum biofeedback, where we actually give it to you and say, go for it. 14 days, we're not going to take a credit card number. We don't care about any of that. We just want you to tell us what you're experiencing more than we're going to tell you what you should experience, which is really fun because that's how people affirmatively opt in based on what they experience over those 14 days.
Yes. And I have to tell you is that when I didn't need to give my credit card, that also made my aura nice and pink and juicy. It's like, oh, no credit card. Yay.
It's so much less stressful. And we don't want it to be stressful. We want it to be fun. We want you to investigate. We want you to learn about yourself. And that's the spirit that we've always come to this with. You know, we do a free class every Monday, 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 o'clock Eastern. Anyone can sign up for that at geniusbiofeedback.com on the events page. Come hang out with us and see what we do every Monday. We do cases, we do somebody can get a scan. We talk about the different ways that we're using the genius, the new features. So it's a fun community. You know, somebody said to me today, they were looking for a different type of technology and we won't say which one it is, and then they said, you know, once they got it, they couldn't call anyone. They couldn't get in touch with anyone. There was no email address. You know, somebody could call me today, I would answer the phone. They're like, you answer your phone? Yes, we're here to help you. We're here to respond to your phone calls, your emails, and ask you to invite you to be part of our participative community.
Yeah, excellent. And that we get that a lot too. I can't believe you pick up the phone. I can't believe you actually talk to people. I'm like, I can't believe other people don't. So yeah, we're kindred spirits in that one. Definitely, Dr. Policano. Let's just revisit this story of this little girl for a moment, because I'm struck by something is that she would be not able to actually describe her quote unquote symptoms. So how did the practitioner set up a treatment for her? Was it that the mom was reporting for her, or?
Yes, the mother was, but you could see that there was the crossed eyes. I mean, that was something that the mother was very concerned about because of how she might be perceiving the world or what might be happening as a result of that neurological issue. And she desperately wanted to do something about it. It was something the medical world really had nothing to offer for her. So she didn't have anything to lose, right? You know, this is a non-toxic, non-invasive, and she trusted Annette, the woman who worked with her, and lo and behold, a miracle happened. But the thing with frequency is what quantum biofeedback does is it addresses what are called stress disturbances. And this can be thought of as an aberration in your natural frequency. So if your liver was made to resonate at 532 hertz, but today it's resonating at 537 hertz, that could be a disease state, the wrong frequency, the incorrect frequency. And perhaps it got to that incorrect frequency through emotions, trapped emotions, some type of stress, maybe a little bit too much, alcohol or something like that. But when we get you to the right frequency, when we play the right frequency, it reminds your body, your liver, how to heal itself. It returns to that frequency, and thus it releases the diseased state. So it's really makes a lot of sense when you start to understand what frequency is and how resonance works and how your body responds to frequency.
And so with the organ healing, does it also heal the brain? Does it heal all organs? Of
course, we can't say the word heal, but we can say the word stress disturbance. So I think everybody knows the kind of the language that we're talking in here. So I think you guys all get it. Your audience will get it. But yes, it's the same thing. If your brain, you're having a loss of memory, loss of short-term memory, brain fog, difficulty, you go into one room, you can't remember why you walked into that room, right? There is a stress disturbance. There has been a change in the frequency, the resonance of your brain. If you listen to tones that remind your brain to go back to its home frequency, tomorrow you could potentially wake up and go, you know what? I feel a lot more clear-headed. I don't have that brain fog anymore. I'm feeling more like myself. That should be the goal, the expectation of quantum biofeedback, to return you to that home frequency.
And what are the things that disturb us away from that home frequency?
So many things, certainly, toxins, emotional stress, all the emotions that we end up storing in our body. It could be the funny things that they spray in the sky. It could have been pesticides that were in the apple that you ate.
Mm-hmm.
It could be all types of EMFs, right? 5G, funny things that they like to put in a shot that put into people's arm. All of these things will disrupt your home frequency. They'll take you out of your home frequency. We know cancer is a very, very low vibrational frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And when we change the frequency, the possibility is if you increase that frequency, the cancer falls away because it is not going to resonate at the frequency you lift yourself up to.
Yeah. And that you don't need to do that on your own. Although I can attest to the power of the feedback, or the feedback, biofeedback, not just the machine, but the actual practices of biofeedback, because I'm a Qigong teacher. And so when I was actually, looking at this, the seeing the frequencies on the screen of how my practice of Qigong changes what my outcome is in my aura is pretty cool too. So it's like the practices that I already use, I can also test on this genius and go, how effective am I being at changing some of those frequencies through my practice and in partnering with some of the tones and stuff that the genius does. So it's kind of a neat thing that you can play around with, not just the technology itself, but you can also integrate the things that you're already using or that you might like to use, or even things that you maybe can't do anymore, but you can even just imagine that you're doing and see how that changes your scan. It's really incredible because you can take, these baseline tests and then rescan and see how
absolutely.
you're
I love your use of that. So you could take your aura, you could then do your Qigong, you could come back and then rescan your aura and see how it's changed. Absolutely. I mean, that makes it an incredible, empowering investigation tool. What if I ate this? What would happen to my aura? What if I thought positive thoughts and then I tested my aura and then I thought negative thoughts? Would I see a different aura? Would I see a more gray aura, a clouded aura? It's absolutely a great way to work with it.
Yes. And the other thing that you've done so brilliantly on this is you've built in the affirmations. So for those of us who are really good at affirming, that's one thing, but can you explain how the genius actually has built in ability to put in positive affirmations?
Some of them are pre-written, so you can get the affirmations. So the affirmations are, of course, affirmations are positive thoughts. When you play them from the genius, you're experiencing them through resonance. Mm-hmm. So everything that is around you right now, whether it be the EMFs or beautiful jazz or classical music that you're playing, those are all frequencies that without your conscious awareness, you are in training. In other words, you're affected by them, and your DNA are antenna. They're not static at all. They're little waveforms. And these waveforms can be influenced at any moment through positive resonances or through, if you get angry, what Masaru Emoto's messages in water, what anger and saying negative words can do. So by entraining positive energies like affirmations, you could change your entire being. And it's hard for us to remember to say the affirmations so many times, but you could put your genius on and entrain those affirmational frequencies for an entire hour or 2 hours, and you will be completely transformed in this passive way through the energies of the affirmations. The genius is unique in that we have something called holo-linguistic technology. That means that the user can put into the genius their very own affirmations, transform them through the genius technology into frequencies, and play those affirmations as those frequencies if they wish all day long.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Because you can either be playing the feedback loop of, my life is all right. It's like I'm having sort of a mediocre, okay time. My life is fine. It's good. It's okay. Or you can have the, perfect health, perfect prosperity, joy, bliss, abundance, clarity, wisdom, integrity, courage, all of these things. And maybe courage is not a great example because that implies that something isn't that awesome, but you get my idea. It's like,
Oh,
and then you
totally.
catch yourself too, right? You go, hang on a minute, what am I actually asking for here? But it's this self-check too about what am I asking for and what are my pre-programmed things that I say to myself all the time and I'm not even aware of. I took 𝘼𝙗𝙀𝒃𝒍𝒆 training like a million years ago. And so this was the first like on cassettes, might have even been on 8-track. But it was just like this, the positive affirmations. It was like 25 cassettes or something, so you're playing this feedback all the time. And I thought, 𝘼𝙗𝙀, you're kind of a funny guy. But after I listened to him for a while, I thought, this is actually really good. It's really very good content. And so the genius does this, and you don't have to be listening to it intently. It can be something that's just played silently too. Is that correct?
Of course. Yeah.
Yes,
The
that's
frequencies are
really powerful.
with your voice and picture. The way that the genius works is that when you play the frequencies, it's instantly transmitted to consciousness. You are receiving it immediately, remotely. If you listen to it, then it's an added bonus because that will affect your nervous system by listening to the tones. It goes in at a deeper level. And if you listen through headphones, it goes through at an even deeper level. Now, one thing that you said was so interesting was just the concept, just having the genius itself. You will transform just by being in relationship with the genius for these reasons. First of all, you can always know something. One of the greatest despairs for humanity is, I can't know. I don't know what's going on with me. I can't figure it out. And so you always can dive in and figure it out. And then beyond that, you can always do something. There's always an answer. There's always a solution because you can just play back the frequencies that you need. And this is a game changer for people who might feel negativity, hopelessness. And so I noticed that there's a change in the people that we work with where their whole consciousness changes into what you're talking about, which is that the possibility and also positively choosing to make that change, using their intention. Like, I know now that I have the ability to make that change, which is so exciting.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And the other thing that was really highlighted for me is the generational entanglements. And because I come from a family that has Huntington's disease in the family, the generational story is that people are unwell and get in long-term care early and, lose their ability to have good functioning brains early on. So even things like suicide early on in the family. And in the community of Huntington's disease, there's this whole imprint also of how that disease looks and how it chews up and spits out families. And what we were very conscious of in my family, my parents both were well, and they made an absolute effort to be well. But it was it's the genetic story of this disease, and I can see it playing out across so many other diseases. So cancer families, Alzheimer's families, dementia families, and the list goes on and on. And when you understand that it's all frequency, you can change any of it. So you don't have to repeat even alcoholism, any of the addiction things, any of the, even getting over historical sexual abuse, allowing sexual abuse in the family. These kind of energies and frequencies can end with us in this time.
That's correct.
Now it's just like, whoa, that's that's really empowering. And so can you talk about, any examples of those kind of stories where people have actually broken or felt like they've broken anecdotally those generational patterns or entanglements?
We did have a practitioner who worked on a family member who was a very, very severe heroin addict. And she didn't know if she had permission to work on him long distance. And he was so really chronic for so long. They didn't know if he was going to survive. And within a few days that she started working on him, he actually opted in to go to a methadone clinic. And so that seems like a very maybe subtle shift, but it was profound for her. She couldn't believe that the coincidence of just starting to work on him and then him making that decision himself to go get help. So yes, I believe that the genius is here at this time because we're tapping into what is so possible, that nothing is written in stone, that nothing is predicted. We are able to step in and make a decision to break these ancestral patterns, to break and transform these epigenetic, these pieces that we think that we were born with. But your DNA is a wave particle. It's an antenna listening to all the frequencies around it. So it can shapeshift at any time.
Yeah. So what are the frequencies that you, listening audience, are going to invite into your life in your living room, as I say, because it isn't just your life, it's also your living room and your kitchen table and your business and your relationships. What is it we're choosing to bring forward in our consciousness and our day-to-day life? The genius is also, I think, very cool in not owning everything, in learning to not own everything that is showing up in that biofeedback information, because part of it, this discovery part for me, was I'm looking at things going, well, that doesn't resonate for me. And I don't really see that in my personal life, but I certainly see it in my historical family lineage. Some of the stories. Yeah. And so I go, oh yeah, I can see the pattern of addiction way back, or poverty.
Sure.
Poverty. Like another one would be acquiescing to the powers that be. And I'm not sure what the exact words were at the time, but just allowing yourself to be oppressed. And so you can see even that level of information and intelligence that might be a historical pattern of something that you continue. I know I'm not articulating this very well. You can do much better than me. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. It was just one of these sort of stunning realizations that I may be feeling this particular feeling today that isn't very empowering, but it might not be because something that's going on in my day-to-day life right now. It might be a history that isn't even something that's alive that I would be aware of. It can be something from very much the past. Can you talk a little bit about where that comes into play?
I think that's what's amazing about biofeedback is, when you go to get a lab test, it's like your TSH is this, your bloods is. The genius and quantum biofeedback goes so much deeper. It's going to go to that deep level of the subconscious, the emotions that you don't even know that are sort of trapped, that you've had maybe when you were a child, or it can go all the way back to those deep ancestral patterns. It's going to just go for what are your blocks that you need to clear, whether they be generational, whether they be toxic, whether they be emotional, whatever it is can be known, can be identified. And if it can be identified with the genius, it can then be cleared. All you have to do is just see those imbalances, put them in the tray, and then you get to clear them. You get to do something about it, which I think that's what we were always meant as, like, a human race, was never just like, yeah, you have it, you're stuck with it. I mean, you better just face it. No, it's always been that you have the potential to change it, to clear it, to improve it. And so the genius is able to meet you at all of those different levels. I mean, that's another thing that really appealed as a naturopath, right? Somebody comes in, they're like, oh, Ariel, I'm fatigued. I've got hot flashes. I can't sleep. I've got an ache. I've got this. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like, how many sessions are we going to have to do to, like, find this out? But the genius is going to tell you immediately. It can test in all those different areas. You can put those frequencies into the tray, and right away you're doing a multidimensional healing. That is the speed of light healing that we need today. We can't wait. People want to get better right now. They want to change their lives. And that's why I love that the genius can meet them at that place of desiring, want to shift and change.
Love it. And so how hard is it to use? Let's talk about. You get it in your hands and you need a manual that's like 5 million, instructions long. Or is it something a 4-year-old can operate?
Well, I want to ask your experience in a moment, but we did create a mini course, which anybody can get. It's always offered when they download the trial, and then they'll get some follow-up emails that also offer it again. It's on the website. If you just click on the banner, it goes to Education Central. It's right there. So the mini course was created with a person in mind that has no idea what this is, and they want to get started. And so in just one session where I walk you through it, you can get started. Anyone can do this. You do not need any knowledge of health. You do not need to be a naturopath. You could know nothing. You just have a desire. All you need to know is record your voice, take your picture, and basically start putting items in the tray, hit the play button, and you're doing it.
Love it. And record your voice is only for 15 seconds. So it's not record your voice for 48 minutes and then you've got it's like this big onerous task. It's so simple to use. That was my experience. It's like, I would say that on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 3 when I'm using technology. I'm just kidding. I'm not that low, but it's just, some things are more easy for me to understand and some things are less adaptive. So for me, it's like the technology piece. I'm a little resistant around using it. So I'm not going to be the person that goes on and goes, pushes the buttons right away and has success. But I did. It's just like I opened it up and went, download the trial. It was super simple. And I said 15 seconds of my voice. Well, what is it that I'm, supposed to say? And the instructions are even there. But I got a little more creative and I was singing a bit and whatever.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Do my thing. Yeah. So I did the scale. So A-E-I-O-U and then do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Yeah. And then
that's awesome. Yeah.
A little bit. Then I got a little bit more free with my singing and you can be playful and fun with it. And then you take a picture of yourself, which, took 3 seconds after I did my hair and makeup. Just kidding. And the thing I love about it is it's unbiased. So it doesn't matter whether you do your hair and makeup or not. You can put your hair in a ponytail. So it's like, don't get hung up on. Exactly. Don't get hung up on the 3D world if you've got to look like a runway model. It's like put your hair in a ponytail and get the picture taken. And then it analyzes your information in split seconds. So you literally can take less than a minute to go from, putting your voice imprint in there to taking your picture to having an analysis done. Like I can't make toast in less than a minute. So, so people are going, I don't have time to do any of this stuff. Literally, you can do this as you're making your cup of coffee in the morning or making yourself a piece of toast or whatever it is.
And people do that, by the way. People do that. They get up in the morning and they get their genius ready and they might be making their breakfast and their genius is playing in the background. They do that all the time. You can even harmonize your food. You can take the headphones and you can actually put the frequencies to your food and put solfeggio frequencies or Bach flower essences and have it infuse the frequencies into the food, into water, things like that. You could actually mention people in their living room. You can use the genius and take a picture of your house and have your house be the client, and you can clear your home. You can use frequencies to clear your home. So it's very, very dynamic, but the genius was meant to meet people where they're at. They do not want to be hooked up to those big, computers. You have to boot it up. So you can just have it on your, I don't know, my phone has escaped me here, but you can just have it on something like I have it on an iPad, very, very easy, or your phone. This is going to go with you wherever you go, right? You're going to take this with you. You're not going to want to take your PC, your laptop, and you might take it on a trip, and the box that goes with it and hook somebody up to the wires. Like the genius is meeting people where they're at today. I want it done fast. I want to take my picture. I want to record my voice in 15 seconds. And then I want to be doing the thing. I want it to take 10 minutes. Then I want to run the frequencies for 15. And then I want to go about my day and do whatever I'm going to do. That's the only way that people are going to do this every single day. Otherwise, they're going to be like, maybe I'll do it once a month. This is the type of technology that people use each and every day. And if you use it each and every day, you're going to make a profound shift.
Yeah. Yes. And I will attest to that because as we were doing the 14-day trial, myself and my partner, that we tried it each other on ourselves. We tried it on kids. So we had kids doing the frequencies. We took a drive to my parents and we did my mom. And it's so cute because we took my mom's aura picture and hers is all pinky chi. Like she's just she's a lovely woman.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
It was just bubblegum pink, her whole one. And I said, oh, Mom, look at yours. It
sounds like that's who she is too. Sounds like she's a bubblegum pink type of person.
Yes. And she goes, well, what does it mean? And I said, well, you're just connected. You're like connected to divine. She said, oh, that's so nice. But it was just this so uplifting process. And then we had a little frequency run for my dad, who's got the Huntington's disease, but it's very not invasive. So he can't wear headphones, for example, but he could take in the frequencies. So we put in some of the things that he is experiencing in the main tray, did a little analysis, and his aura was also pinky. So even though he's got this dementia stuff, his actual aura, it was absolutely unbiased and accurate for the man that I know that he is. So this was very interesting. There was a few little black threads, but those were snipped by the time the first session was done. so you can see some of that in neurology when people have neurological problems, that they have, the blackness that comes in as a result of things not functioning properly. But this tool really, and it is a very empowering tool. He didn't need to hook, he could still use it and get a result that you could see on the screen that there was improvement, which is so empowering, so empowering. So I love that. And you can, they were all willing test subjects because we were so excited, but mainly because it was easy to use. If it had been difficult, my mom said, I'm so tired, I just don't think I can be bothered to upload anything right now, because being a caretaker for people is tough.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. So anyone who's taking care of other people, this is something that can be very empowering in your day-to-day routine to help you to have the stamina to not only take care of other people, but to actually refine your own energy and get rid of those energetic things that might be pulling down your good feedback, your good chi, as I call it, your good life force and your good energy. So I imagine you have tons of examples of people doing these little tests on their families.
Oh, that's the most exciting thing, is that any person who doesn't have a medical background can use this for themselves, their family, their friends, and they do it every single day. And they're finding empowerment through that. Wow, I didn't need that medical degree. I didn't need to limit myself. I can put the items in the tray and I can hit the play button. And guess what? I'm actually learning something from that. And we have lots of education. We have natural health classes. We have the ongoing biofeedback classes. And, I just want to mention that from the voice, you can learn a tremendous amount. What the Genius is doing is it's taking your voice and it's turning it into a measurable frequency. It's evaluating your voice, and it's taking information from your picture. There's so much information in a picture, energetic information, and it's combining the voice and the picture, turning that into an evaluative or measurable frequency and comparing it to other frequencies that are in the program, and then giving a score based on what the relationship is between those two frequencies. And that's the high or low scores that we end up putting into the tray. So I've said to people, it's more mathematical in some ways than it is magical. It's really based on this algorithm, on the code of really looking at your frequency today and comparing it to these other frequencies and determining which are the most beneficial frequencies for you to run for yourself today.
Mm-hmm. Huge insight for me too on this was, I appreciate it's the data, not the drama. Right. So it's giving you data. It's not getting into the drama of things. So that's actually how you can look at it all. Right. It's just like, oh, okay. Right. A little bit of information. You don't have to attach a big story to it, and you can heal it. You could, or change the frequency of it. Let's say you can change the frequency of it. And so that I thought was very valuable. The other thing I found incredibly valuable was being able to look at these, the analysis and going, what's red and what's blue, and then understanding kind of the red and blue thing, because you could see what's chronic and what's more immediate problems. So for somebody who's in their 50s, I was, going, well, what's chronic and long-term, and that I could change that still. Right?
Yes, at any time.
Immediate. And what can I change? And then also giving a little bit of thought about what might have created those states, so that I would be conscious about not recreating them. And that was very empowering too. So it's just kind of snipping not only the energetic threads of things that might be holding a person back from shining at their most, brightest resonance, but also being conscious of the, repeated patterns of behavior that we've been doing for so long that they become unconscious and just things that we do. This is a gentle nudge to go, hey, knock, knock, wake up. And, you can change this little thing. All you need to do is bring it into your mind's eye and have the frequencies playing. So really, really appreciated that about this technology.
I think the minute that you discover something that's red or blue, which we call that a stress disturbance, something that's out of balance, your consciousness immediately starts to engage. And I think the healing happens even with your awareness of those frequencies, because when you know something's out of balance, your whole consciousness leans in and it starts to make those subtle shifts even before you hit one button of playing the frequencies.
Yeah, great point. Because it's the observer effect. And now that we're talking about it, right? That's what it is. It's the observer effect. I'm bringing my attention and focus to this. So it's such a great investment of your time. But the other amazing thing is that you can run this all night long. If you've got something that you really feel like you need to hone in on, focus in on, and get some resolution around it. You don't just have to do it for 1 or 2 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes. You can literally run a program all night, which can have very deep healing effect from my understanding. Is that correct?
Well, we talked about this in our recent summit, which is on my YouTube channel. You can watch day 1, 2, and 3 of the summit. One of our practitioners, her name is Denise, was told of a young boy, I think he was 9 or 10, was hit literally by a truck, terrible accident, was in the hospital, and was asked to work on this young boy in the hospital when she hadn't even seen him, talked to him, got a picture. Maybe they had like a little voice clip from something in the past. They played the voice picture. She started running him all night. The next day, the doctors were like, we don't know. There's no reason why he should be making the type of quick progress. This is inexplicable why he's even able to get up and sort of be conscious and be aware and be progressing at the rate that he is. So you can see Denise tell that story if you want to watch. I think it's day 2 of our summit. That's on our YouTube channel. And that was an amazing story. I've been amazed at how the practitioners have taken this and run with it. Lay practitioners that don't really have a medical background, but just have a desire to help other people. And their results are astounding.
Yeah. Because what do you have to lose? Honestly, when people are in such dire circumstances, you can think, oh, I don't believe it. But what do you have to lose? If you can change something, to your point, immediately, or in 14 days, or in seven weeks, which is, less than 2 months, it's incredible. The power that we have when we can bring our attention and focus to things with the other tools of the harmonic resonance and so many other deep algorithms. This thing wasn't baked up in some chef's, kitchen overnight. This has taken years and years and years of development.
This was developed by a gentleman who spent his entire adult career in quantum biofeedback, who's Ryan Williams, who you had on your show. And he was just really dedicated and devoted. He had a vision of taking that $20,000 to $30,000 price point, which was quite limiting, even for me as a practitioner to make that type of investment. Never mind, a layperson isn't going to go, oh yeah, I think I have $30,000, which is like, mortgaging not a house anymore, but that's a pretty steep investment. And he was really committed. He wanted this to be in everybody's home. He wanted everybody to have the opportunity to do this. And that made him curious, want to take that quantum biofeedback, put it in a mobile application like a tablet or a phone to make it available to everyone. But yes, it has taken us over 9 years. It's going through so many iterations, and anyone who gets the software gets every single update moving forward. And there's no monthly fee. Once you own it, you own it.
Beautiful. And so empowering for people. So after the 14-day trial, is there a variety of packages that people can get just depending on what their level of interest is?
That's pretty much it. We have our starter complete, which is just your most basic. I just want to get my feet wet. We have an upgraded program, which has things like food allergies, addictions, weight loss, has more frequencies specific for those, hidden infections, biofilms, things like that. And then we have an elite package that sometimes people just say that I just want to get everything in this package because it has a couple of accesses. It has a remedy plate. It has business training. It has more frequencies, pineal gland, vagus nerve, some more advanced things, EMF harmonizing and things like that. But people can go to the website, geniusbiofeedback.com, check out our Genius packages, and any of those packages, even at that base level, is going to be fantastic. You get full training, get full support. We get on a live Zoom with you to train you when you first get your system, so you understand everything that you got. And then you can come to our Monday trainings as well and continue to talk in our Facebook groups, ask people for ideas. We have a Facebook group that's very, very participative. People are giving other people recommendations, support. It's a really fun community, which is something that I really enjoy.
Yeah. So wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Ariel. We're out of time for today, but I want to encourage everybody. I hope that you've taken a nugget or two away of just how empowered you can be by getting yourself the 14-day free trial. Check out what we're doing at masteryourlife.ca. Get a hold of Dr. Ariel Policano, hook up with the Facebook group, and most importantly, try out that 14-day free trial. Do you have any final words? Parting words, Dr. Ariel Policano.
The power is in your hands. You can change your life. You are the person. It's your intention. In some ways, the genius represents your amplified intention of what you want to do and where you want to take your life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody. We invite you to love yourselves, love each other, mind your minds. That's all for us. Bye for now.
Thank you for being a part of our program today. Master Your Life is a presentation of Leaha Mattinson Enterprises, Inc. Join us next time on Master Your Life, helping you to discover the very best of you.